Hi, this is our second lesson, and today we are going to be discussing addition, properties, names, and comparisons. Let's start off with comparing numbers. What does that mean? The definition of comparing numbers, it means to determine if a number is greater than, less than, or equal to another number. Pause the video and write that in your notes. We use the following symbols to represent greater than, less than, or equal to. Let's look at some examples. Our first example, 36 and 632. We have to decide which one is greater than, less than, or equal to. Pause and write down the examples and your answers. Great. I hope you have gotten those written down. 36 is less than 632. Let's check the second answer. 110 is greater than 101. And 90 equals 90. Great job. Kiss your brains. Next, we're going to be looking at names of numbers. This first number here, we read that as 18. The next number we read as 81. And our final number we read as 821. We'll talk more about naming numbers later in the school year. But I do want to mention when we are naming money, the decimal point, in this case between the 4 and the 2, we use the word and. So we'd read this as $374, and 20 cents. An algorithm. An algorithm is the process for getting an answer. Pause the video and write that in your notes. Great. A lot of times we use the word algorithm and we're not quite sure what that means. And in basic terms, it means addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. We're going to look at some addition problems. Oops, wrong one. As you notice, these addition problems have different parts. These different parts are called the addends. Please write that in your notes. Write an example and label the addends. Welcome back. So, when we have more than one number in a series to add, sometimes it's easier if we try to group them in tens. For example, in this first problem, 8 plus 6 plus 2. I know that if I add the 8 and the 2, I can get 10, which makes it easier to add 10 plus 6. 10 plus 6 is 16. The correct answer to this one is 16. Let's look at the second one. 4 plus 7 plus 3 plus 6. What pairs can you add together to get 10? Great. You should have gotten 20. And over here, this group, 8 plus 7 plus 5 plus 3. You should have gotten 23. Now, we talked about that the numbers we add together on the left-hand side of the equal sign are the addends. Our answer is called the sum. Please write that in your notes. Next, we're going to go into the identity property. Now, these properties can be a little confusing, and we can get them easily mixed up. The definition of the identity property is when 0 is added to any number, the sum is identical to that number. Pause the video and add that to your notes. Welcome back. Here are some examples. Please add those to your notes as well. So you see, the identity property is really pretty easy. Adding 0 does not change the number. It doesn't change who the number is. We have another property to talk about today, and that property is the commutative property of addition. Sounds difficult, doesn't it? But it's not. The definition of the commutative property is changing the order of the addends does not change the sum. Would like you to pause the video and add that to your notes. Great, let's look at some examples. For example, we know that 8 plus 2 equals 2 plus 8. It works great with addition. It does not work for subtraction. 8 minus 2 does not equal 2 minus 8. The commutative property of addition allows us to use and create fact families. We'll talk more about that later.